if you're not relevant and you can't create attention for yourself, you are going to be literally obliterated in the world of nowhere. Welcome to the first session of Visualize with Vik in the year 2022. And as usual, please subscribe, press like, and click on the notification button so that you can get updated with the updates that are going to happen this year. I was wondering, what am I going to talk about to start off the year? And we've done a few things within the context of some of the work I do, which was preparing for 2022, which we did in the course of last year, and starting the year strong, which is what we're going to be doing tonight in terms of having a conversation with a psychologist, Siabonga Njangashe, and Elise McCabe, who is a transition specialist in career and outplacement. So I kind of was thinking, starting the year strong is an appropriate construct and concept. But what I really want to talk about is this fact of, I think, what I believe people need to be paying attention to, which is what is the year going to look like with regards to you, right? And you can see I'm thinking about this because I'm trying to find a way to enter this subject. The subject I want to talk to is a subject that I actually heard Gary Vee talk about some time back. And this is the subject of attention, right, and relevance. Now, I've just listened to an amazing speech by Professor Lumumba, who delivered a speech in Ethiopia last year in October, talking about the continent of Africa and how, as Africans, we're becoming less relevant in the rest of the world, and how we are, where our attention is not, there's no attention focused on us as it should be, or as it could be. Let's not say should, let's say could. Because we don't want to have a sense of entitlement that for some reason attention should be focused on us. And I want to revert that on a personal capacity. Gary Vee talks about the future, and we're in that future where if you're not relevant and you can't create attention for yourself, you are going to be literally obliterated in the world of nowhere. I think about this, in the context of technology. And one of the biggest forms of technology for me that is coming, it's here, but it's probably not penetrated as deeply as it's going to, and that's voice technology. And the impact that voice technology is going to have to relevance and attention. Now, what do I mean by relevance and attention? I believe that the days of you going around getting a certificate, whatever it is, in some structural, formal, institution, and then combining that with your CV and plonking it in on top of another CV and crossing your fingers and hoping are gone. As a matter of fact, I truly believe this idea that governments keep talking about in terms of employing people and growing economies so employments grow, gone. I think it's been gone for a while. I think we've just been deluded for many, many years. The unemployment rate is going to get worse. There's no two ways about that. Because the rate in which the youth are coming into the market versus the rate in which we are actually developing so-called new jobs is not there. Here's an interesting fact, as a matter of fact, when we come to talk about this subject, before I go back to attention and relevance. Do you know that in the US, and I can't remember when the statistic was taken, but it's pretty recent, 2020 probably at the latest point, 2020, 2021, that there are 31 million registered businesses in the US, right? Now listen to this. 31 million businesses registered in the US, of which 99.9% of them are small businesses. And their description of small businesses are businesses that employ less than 500 people. So the United States is made up of small businesses, not the Amazons and the Facebooks and the Googles, small businesses. But here's another interesting statistic. Of that 31 million, 24 million businesses are one-man businesses. One-man businesses. I mean, for me, that was alarming, because if the United States is an economy, the biggest economy in the world that has been gobbling up the world for the last 100 years, is made up of small businesses. That means, and remember, a small business and a one-man business is just an entrepreneurial business, right? It's a business that somebody's running for themselves or families, right? Imagine 1 to 5, there's another percentage that's there. It is alarming that we are not driving entrepreneurships, the ability for individuals to make their own money. Now, back in the day, if you go back to Europe, when you looked at the fishmonger, when you looked at the baker, when you looked at the cobbler, when you looked at the butcher, etc., these were individuals, and in some case family businesses, that were being run for one simple reason, is to earn an income so that they can survive, right? So when we start interpreting entrepreneurship, we need to start interpreting entrepreneurship for the very purpose it's supposed to serve, which is 1, to provide food on the table, and 2, when it grows sufficiently, to provide food on other people's tables, which is where the kind of construct of employment comes in. But it's a different form of employment. It's not the sort of structural employment that we see with larger corporations. Now, back to my point of relevance and attention. As we progress into a world where that is being squeezed to the extent where it's almost, going to be non-existent, and every time you put your CV down, there's 100 and 200 other CVs that are on top of there. The question that's going to be asked is, what makes you stand out? What is the significance of you versus another graduate who's just done the exactly same thing as you've done and stuck their CV on top of theirs, right? In other words, how relevant are you? What is it about you that actually has any implications, not only to the organization you're trying to apply a job for, but just to life in general? Because out there in life, there are needs that need to be fulfilled, right? There are skills that you have that can fulfill those needs. And how relevant are you in your ability to actually fulfill those needs? Can you or can't you, right? If you're good at Excel spreadsheets, isn't it possible that you can actually find 5 companies that you can do Excel spreadsheets for and charge them, 5,000 rands each, and all of a sudden you're earning 25,000 rands? That's what I mean about your relevance to be able to fulfill a need or fulfill some kind of requirement that's out there in society. That's number one. You have to be relevant. There needs to be something that you're either doing or even saying that people want to pay attention to, right? And then that's the next point, which is attention. How do you gather attention? Now, there's this big thing called ghosting, right? Particularly in the employment world. Folks, if ghosting is what you're worried about today, then you've got to be kidding, right? Because if you think the days are going to be in the future where people call you back and explain and talk to you, they're gone. They're also gone. It's not ghosting. It's about attention and relevance. People are placing their attention in different areas, right? And they're not going back to things that they don't believe were relevant. If I didn't perform very well in an interview, etc., etc. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's the right way to be, but I am saying that that's the way it's going to be in the future. And the more that you're not finding yourself relevant or creating the right kind of attention, the more and more it's going to be in the sense that you'll find yourself marginalized in this world where people are only paying attention to what's relevant and also creating attention and focusing on what's relevant. So how are you creating attention? And this is where I believe that in this day and age, I am creating attention as we speak right now, right? In this day and age, the ability for you as an individual with no one else and no cost and nothing else coming into the picture, and I'm not talking about cell phone costs and all that, obviously they're there, but you know what I mean. You have the ability to start creating some level of attention towards you, right? Have a subject that you can speak to. Talk to a skill that you are very familiar with. Talk to a subject matter that might be of interest to you, so that people begin to understand over a period of time who Vikela is and visualizing with Vikela, right? And then, once you've created that attention, the conversation, let it be as relevant as possible. So this one has gone slightly longer because I really want you to start focusing on this idea that voice technology, the movement of the way things you're experiencing now, employment in the way it used to be, are all now squeezing different ways and different forms of behavior. And Gary Vee is very right. If you are not relevant and creating attention, you are going to be obliterated in the world of where people now, just by voice technology, can say, Siri, tell me about Vikela Rankin, show me, and bring up his last Visualize with Vik, and boom, there it is, right? They don't have to wait through anything or ask anybody or fetch anything from anybody. That's what they're going to do. And that's how they're going to make decisions in the future. Show me the top 5 students that succeeded in whatever university in the year 2022. Show me their marks, show me where they are today, show me their social media profiles, tell me how they're behaving, etc., etc., etc. Do a social media reference check around them. Who are the people that they're dealing with? Or here are their numbers, let me phone them. And I can do all that without even having spoken to you. So I'm not ghosting you. I've just discovered that in my world, you're not relevant, and I couldn't find you if there was nowhere where you are actually appearing in any of the social media platforms where I might be seeking. So go out there and start asking yourself the question, how can I be more relevant and how can I gain more attention? And the moment you do that, you're building the blocks for your future. So once again, if this made any sense to you, if you liked it, if there was anything in there that might have been useful to you, please subscribe, and you'll be hearing more about Visualize with Vik. Thank you very much.